It is time for Around the 412 with Smitty and Tyler.
Welcome back to another episode of Around the 412. I am Tyler. With me, as always, is my co-host Smitty. Go follow us on all of our social medias at Around the 412. If you're not watching the show on YouTube already, go check us out there. Hit subscribe. It's free. Helps us out a lot. You can hit the notification bell so you never miss when we post a video or when we go live. If you're a Steelers fan, we do Steelers Saturday Sit Down, where we preview the Sunday matchup for the Steelers. We go live 10 a.m. Eastern. So hit the notification bell. You never miss when we go live. Also, follow us wherever you listen to the podcast as well. Also on Spotify, you can leave comments if you have a question that you'd like us to answer on the show. Leave a comment, and we would love to get to those questions. And check out the description of each and every show where you can see all the links to our great sponsors that we'll talk about throughout the show. But also, you can see the link to the GoFundMe for year 8 of Rocking Around the 412, where I was just informed as we were recording the Steelers episode that you saw yesterday that we are over 200 kids, around 230-ish, 37 kids-ish so far through the 8 years because of the school getting 50 tags through the East Rochester Salvation Army, which is awesome. But we want to continue to grow that. So if you want to get involved with the East Rochester Salvation Army and adopt a kid off their angel tree, you can do so. Also, if you want to get involved with the GoFundMe and donate there, the link is below. You can learn more about the mission there, or you can donate to Smitty or I directly, and 100% of your money goes to helping these kids this time of year. Also, there are going to be some prizes that you can win. It's a Pat Fryermuth autographed item, some Penguins tickets. This is the Penguins show, so some of you might be interested in that. Some Around the 412 merch from Shop Yins, some Game Changers merch. So we got all sorts of good stuff that we're going to be coming your way in December. But you got to get involved. You got to help us out. Try to help as many kids this time of year. Smitty, the Penguins might be the best team in Pittsburgh, and I did not think I would say that for a long time.
Yeah, fair assessment right now. Maybe if you include Pitt women's volleyball, I would say that they might be giving them a run for their money. Professional.
Hey, Pitt football's been doing. They've been on a heater since they've made the quarterback change.
You gotta question: is this team still undefeated if Mason Heinschel started out the season over Eli Holstein? Hard not to ask yourself. Yeah. Anyways, not here to talk about that. Here to talk about the Penguins, who in every game since we last spoke have got at least 1 point. I think that we're quickly finding out that they still suck in shootouts. But hey, if it doesn't get to a shootout, they're probably winning now.
I will give them credit though. I think as far as the shooters go in the shootout, they have been better than I've seen in a long time. They're actually scoring a few times in the shootout, which in this case, like we've talked about for years, where if you just send out the usual suspects of Crosby, Letang, and Malkin, it's almost like they just don't care and they want the game to end. And so they just take a little wrister at the goalie. They don't try to make any moves or anything like that. At least we've seen a couple of goals in the shootout. Arthur Shelov's, I never want to see in a shootout ever again. You were allowed to switch your goaltender before the shootout, even if they don't start in the game. If they ever get to a shootout, just put Tristan Jarry in that, because Arthur Shelov's on Saturday against the Blue Jackets and last night against the Flyers, awful. He is swimming in the crease when it gets to a shootout. Never want to see him again there.
Yeah, he stopped one out of 6 shots so far in the.
Yeah, it's probably just because the guy missed.
I don't remember, to be honest, the one that he did stop. But yeah, it hasn't been great. But we're not here to talk about that. Obviously, we're
not here nor there.
I struggle with even where to start with. There's too many positives right now with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Actually, this victory lap to start, because I think that my take regarding Parker Wotherspoon is off to a tremendous start. I think he's been fantastic for them. The one really bad moment that he had obviously cost him at the end of the game in Anaheim, where he throws the puck over the glass and Anaheim ends up scoring a power play goal, which obviously was the difference in that game. But I feel like he legitimately has become the new Marcus Pettersson. Honestly, maybe a little bit more to the table offensively than Marcus Pettersson brought. I mean, that was a snipe the other night that he had on that goal that he scored. Been very, I can't even say surprised. I predicted it would happen. I've been very happy with the return on investment so far for Parker Watersman, who's a guy who's always had really good advanced numbers. The impacts have always been good, but it's been in like a sheltered role, playing like 10 minutes a night. So, obviously some curiosity how that would go when you're talking about doubling that time on ice, playing much more difficult assignments. And so far, so good for him. But obviously the big storyline so far with the Penguins is always going to be the core. And those guys, I feel like Chris Letang, Carlson, and Gino all had pretty rough nights in their last game. But up to that point, I feel like even Letang, who didn't start out great, had turned the corner. Carlson and Gino have been good for the better part of the year. It just like obviously the baseline stuff. Look at the box score. What a start that Gino is off to this season.
They've been really good. And obviously you mentioned how last night as a recording this, we should say, against the Flyers, didn't Tuesday. Go their way. And I think that like outside of maybe that Rangers game, the third game of the season where they lost 6-1, last night against the Flyers was arguably their worst game of the season from a performance standpoint, just as an overall team goes. And they still manages to
But you know
lose
what the difference is? And I think what we've seen from this team already, and we just talked about the lack of fight right now in the Steelers. The Penguins bounced back from that. Honestly, they weren't even necessarily like great against the Blues. Their goaltending and defense was just very bad at the beginning of the game, the Blues, that is. And they ended up scoring 6 goals in that one. But like, not a repeatable performance with how poorly I thought that they played for big chunks of that. Flyers game was largely the same way early on, but like really dominated, in my opinion, in the third period to fight back into that one. And that's just, to me, a calling card of a team that's kind of buying in to what the coach is selling. And I don't think that was happening at the end of Sullivan's tenure. Again, this is not meant to be a Sullivan bashing, but it's just they got a fresh voice, they got a fresh face behind the bench, and revamped the coaching staff outside of Andy Chioda. And I think that you're seeing it pay dividends, at least from an effort standpoint, and their ability to fight back in these games.
It's not supposed to be a Sullivan bashing, but it almost has to be talked about because that's what you have to compare it to, because it is a direct change at head coach, the first one that we've had in a decade. So even though you don't want it to be that way, like that's almost what it is indirectly, because you have to compare it one for one for what you're getting from him. And what we're getting so far is a team that, you're right, they look bought in to the system that Dan Hughes is instilling. They're bought into the message that he's sending, and that's why that they've been competitive in a lot of these games. And I think that we are approaching the point where you can no longer use the small sample size. Like 10 games is 10 games, but that's 12.5%, over 12% of your season is 10 games. I feel like that is something that you can no longer say, well, just the sample size is too small. Like, you're seeing the effort night in and night out from this team. Now, they still have stinkers of a game like they had against Philadelphia, but they still managed to fight back and get a point out of that one. That's not something that we would have seen from this team a year ago. That's the difference to me. And you mentioned the core. Like Evgeni Malkin. I said this, I replied to Jesse Marshall. You said that he got on your workout. Like the legs that he's got under him, he looks better than he has the last 5 years. Like, he probably has not looked this good since like the 2019-2020 season, the shortened season. I don't know where it came from, but he just looks rejuvenated. And I don't want to necessarily say that, and I hate talking about like a lack of effort, like we just mentioned. I hate questioning players' efforts, but at times over the last couple of seasons, like, you could definitely say that it looked like Malcolm was just kind of like skating out there, like not really pressing play, not really making a huge effort on pucks in the corners. I don't think that's the case at all this season. I think that he's really bought into whether it's Dan Muse's coaching or whether it's people talking about him being this last season of the year. He bought into something and has turned around his game so much that I don't know if he still is after last night, but he was tied for the league in leading points.
No, he's
not anymore.
He has the third highest total. Eichel has 19 points. McKinnon and Nick Schmaltz both have 17, and then he's tied with Mac, Celebrini, Suzuki, and Dylan Larkin with 16.
Okay. Well, I think going into Tuesday, he was tied for the lead.
Yeah, what in the world did Jack Eichel do last night?
I don't know. But, I mean, he's got 16 points in 11 games. Crosby, 15 points in 11 games. And Crosby, I feel like a lot of those have come as of late. Like the first few games, you weren't seeing it as much from Crosby on the box score like you were from Malkin. Like these guys have that extra gear, and they're turning it on right now. And I think that has to go credit to like the coaching staff, what he has believed in this team. Maybe it has to do with like a lot of younger players being on this team as well. Like that rejuvenates some of these older guys, and they are playing quite a few younger players on the team. And I think that's a benefit. But I think the narrative has to be talked about how the sample size is becoming large enough where the Penguins are making this look like it might be sustainable as far as like winning games and being a competitive hockey team. Whether they make the postseason or not, that's still up in the air. But we talked about how even some of the play that we were seeing early on for the first week or two of the season, probably not sustainable. We mentioned the goaltending, probably not something that's sustainable. But as I said, we are several weeks into the season now, and I feel like if it was going to fall off, we would have seen more cracks in the armor than we actually are. But night in and night out, we're seeing competitive hockey from these guys, and all the credit to them. They were going into a season where the entire fan base, the entire NHL, thought that they were going to be one of the worst teams in the league in the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes, which by all means, I wish that the Penguins would be. But if they're going to be a competitive winning hockey team, I'm not going to complain about it either.
Yeah, the worst thing that could possibly happen is this team ends up being middle of the pack, either just making or
Get
just
like the
missing
15th pick.
The playoffs. Yeah. I think there's something to be said too about the guys that Gino's playing with. I just think he's having fun playing with these weird line mates that like we didn't have any expectation for coming into the season really. And Justin Brazeau and Anthony Mantha, and they're both playing above expectation. I mean, those are the guys that are third and fourth on the team in points behind Gino and Sid right now. Brazeau, 12 points in 11 games, 6-6. Anthony Mantha, 10 points in 11 games, 5-5. I mean, that line has been fantastic so far, and it's just such a weird combination. Everybody's huge. Gino is the smallest of them, I think. So, yeah, just a big line. These big dudes that stick up for each other, and they're like Brazeau did not. I did not know he had the hands that he did, or he does, before we got into the season. And Mantha was a big question mark. I said I was just hopeful there was something left in the tank for them to be able to fetch a draft pick. I mean, more than showing that right now. So either like he's going to help them stay afloat and be competitive the whole way here, or I think he's shown that, yes, he can definitely be used as an asset for draft pick. The one thing, and you talked about sustainability, that, I mean, they're first right now in shooting percentage in the league. Do we think that that's going to remain? They're 26th in shots put on goal, but they're first in shooting percentage. That's the one thing you got to think is probably going to even out to some degree. But I also start to look around and say, okay, where can they kind of make up for that as well? This is a team that historically has, or at least like in recent memory, has been really good in faceoffs. Right now, they're 20th in faceoffs. They're also not very good on the penalty kill. You know, if they can get better there. The goaltending we've talked about, punching above its weight for sure. 5th right now in goals against average. Between Shilovs and Jari. And they're taking a lot of penalties. So stay out of the box. Like these are things that if that shooting percentage comes down, where can you make up for it in other ways to have the result stay afloat, even if that one aspect isn't going to sustain?
Yeah, and I think that's fair. And I think that the stat that you directly related it to, like getting the puck on the net, that could also improve as well. Even if the shooting percentage goes down, that could increase and getting more shots on the net. But yeah, this team has been overperforming expectation before for sure. But I don't know how much longer we can go on and continue to say that like this is going to come crashing down, because I feel like, not to say that it won't, but I really feel like it would have. You would have seen more signs of it, at least, is what I'm trying to say up to this point. And like I said, maybe they're not a playoff team. Maybe they're not competing for the division title like it seems like they are, at least right now. But they could be a wild card contender if all things said and done, if this continues. And that would be, what would be more shocking? The Steelers winning a first-round playoff game or the Penguins making the playoffs this season? Given what you know right now about the Steelers, by the way.
Oh, man. See, the thing is, if the Steelers make the play, I think the AFC North is only going to have one playoff team now.
Okay.
So if they make the playoffs, they're probably hosting that game.
Which we saw on Sunday doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair, depending on how well the opposing fan base travels. Just getting into the playoffs, you're saying, for the Penguins?
Yeah, just if you're a wild card team and making the playoffs, you don't have to win anything, but they could get swept. But based off expectations, making the postseason would be a shock in and of itself.
Sure. You know, I think that the allure of getting Rodgers, and he himself is backing this up, is feeling like you were in a better position to win a playoff game because of that. But like the defense changes,
and that's why I included the caveat of what we know now about the Steelers.
Yeah. Wait, which one? What was? I can't remember the word. Which one is more likely, or do I think it?
What would be more shocking?
Which one would be more shocking?
Steelers winning,
yeah, probably the Steelers right now
game?
because
yeah.
I mean, you got to be like, the opinions have to be fluid as we sit here right now. I mean,
sure, yeah.
The Penguins are one of the probably 5-6 best teams in the NHL right now, based off what we've seen. I guess, and you can answer this when we come back because I got to play an ad. But we just talked about sustainability. Do you have more faith now than you did before the season that the goaltending is at least going to stay afloat for this team? I'll let you answer that when we come back. First off, got to tell you about our friends at Game Changers. What's going on, everybody? Smitty from Around the 412 here. Got to take a quick second to tell you about our friends at Game Changers. That's their logo. This is one of their shirts. Best vintage t-shirts in the game. Doesn't matter if it's sports, music, movies. They got you covered with their designs. Over 5,000 different designs in that catalog over there. GameChanger.la or Pick6.la. You'll save yourself $10 when you use the code AT412 on your order. The link is below to both of those sites. Go check out their entire catalog. Again, 5,000 different designs. If you go with the black or the white, it'll be true to size. If you go with the pepper, which I'm wearing right now, or the ivory, they'll be a bit oversized. It's a heavyweight material. Beautiful stuff. Go check them out. And again, save yourself $10 using code AT412 at checkout.
So I'll say this about the goaltending. I don't think it is a coincidence that the Penguins are playing better and you're going to get better goaltending. As much as I want, and several people love to dunk on Tristan Jarry and whoever his backup was over the last several years. There's been a couple of them, whether it was Nedeljkovic or Arthur Shelov's now. Or I don't even know if you want to necessarily call Arthur Shelov's the backup. They've played 6 games of 5 games respectively. It's like 1A, 1B.
Yeah. Wait, which order is it in though? Has he played one more than Jarry or one less?
Shelov's has played one more than Jarry.
Say so. I would say he's probably the 1A, if anything.
1A, yeah.
Yeah.
I relate it to Jarry just because he's been here. But like, as much as we want to like dunk on him for past performances, rightly so, the Penguins at times were also awful in front of him. So I don't necessarily think that it's a coincidence that you're getting better play in front of them and the goaltending improves. Now, do I think the goaltending is punching above its weight a little bit? Probably. I mean, looking at the goal save above expected for both of them updated from this past week, Arthur Shelov's is at a 5.3 goal saved above expected, and Tristan Jarry at a 4.3. That's an uptick. I think of Jarry of about 1 goal, and then Arthur Shelov's that jumped up like 2.5 goals in these last couple of games. So I think it's sustainable enough, and I think the goaltending is good enough for what they're getting to be able to stay on track if the Penguins keep winning, because I think that you're going to get the goaltending improved because of the play that's happening in front of them. I think that the Penguins, not all the time. Like, I think the Flyers game was very bad, but I think that you're getting more responsible play in the Penguins' own end from this team. And I think that that's something that you have lacked a ton over the last couple of years. You never necessarily saw I don't want to say you never saw an effort to change anything, but at least from the outside looking in, it almost seemed like the Penguins just completely ignored that they were inept in their own end of the ice. I don't see that from this year. And so even if there is a dip in play from the goaltending itself, I think that you're probably going to have a higher floor than you would have been, just because the Penguins are playing better in front of their goaltenders, which speak it to what you will. Like, I think that's a huge part of judging how a goaltender is playing is also what is happening in front of them. So I think that like there's a little bit of both. Like they are shooting above their weight and punching above their weight a little bit as far as like what's expected. I mean, Arthur Shelov's, I want to actually look at this from an overall standpoint, because 5.4, that's got to be like one of the top in the league. For goaltenders that have played in 6 or more games, that's 7th in the league right now. So, I mean, he's near the top.
And what is that goal save above expected?
Yeah,
that's actually gone down though since. I think he was 3rd when we were talking last week. So
yeah.
I guess maybe it's already stabilizing and we're still playing the way that we are. So if that's the case, that would certainly be encouraging. Yeah, I mean, to get back to the the goaltending versus defense thing, I know that we've talked about this before, but clearly the team kind of agreed with that assessment as well. I mean, there's a reason that they moved on from so many players on the back end, did not move on from Tristan Jarry, and did not move on from the goalie coach, right? I feel like they kind of were saying the same thing. Whether they're right or wrong, they believe that the defense was the bigger reason for the way that the goaltending has been. I mean, there's isolated numbers. We literally have data to tell us that has not been the case. And Tristan Jarry isolated has not been good. But big picture, this team's banking on the fact that with a better structure in front of him, he's going to rebound a bit. And whether it works or not, I don't know. But so far, I'll say so good. I understand he's taking on lesser of a role, but maybe that's also part of it too.
And I think that's the thing. It's hard to argue with the performance right now. Penguins sitting at 7-2-2, gotten points in all of their last 4 games since we last spoke. Like it's hard to argue against really anything the Penguins are doing right now. There's really only one negative outside of like you could say that the Penguins played poorly and lost in a shootout in that Flyers game, and they lost in a shootout against the Blue Jackets. One negative that came out since we last spoke, Ricardo Kell had to get surgery on his hand. He's going to miss the next like 6 to 8 weeks recovering from that. So that stinks. There's a couple other layers that you could actually look at it that way. It stinks because that makes your first line worse, but it also stinks because if that was a player that you wanted to consider trading at the trade deadline, if it came to that point, like he's going to be missing 2 months of the season where he could be upping his price, really.
Hollander being the first guy to jump up on the top line was a bit surprising. Although the reason that I like it so much is because my idea with playing Koivunen next to Kindle. Yeah, I know we're missing the McGroarty part of that right now until he gets back, but hopefully they're kind of going along with that, and they're just waiting for that other piece to come in and didn't want to shake up everything prior to. So you put Hollander up there short term, and then we'll see how things progress from there. But maybe it sticks. I don't know if it doesn't change much. You got Brian Rust going over the last week now as well. Once he beats down that floodgate, it just they keep rolling. So he's got to score
6 points in his last 4 games.
I keep going back to this reference. I used it for Pat ended up just having 3 for 13 this last game. But after he had that big game, I said it's like a shooter that's got to see one go in. Brian Rust, once he gets one goal, it just seems like it's a flood. It's a barrage. So he's probably about to go on a heater based off what we've seen over the last week. But that would certainly be welcome sight as well. You talk about sustainability. Brian Rust going at a 30-goal pace again would certainly help them sustain if you do see a drop off from a Brazo or a Mantha.
Yeah, I mean, and we talk from Hollander too. Like, I think Hollander's been solid in his his 3rd stint with the Penguins organization. I think that he's been solid. Now, if he stays on the top line for an extended period of time, we'll see. He probably has to contribute, and Crosby wants him there. Crosby will need to want him there to stick there. But I think that it's fine for now, and I think that the Koivunen and Kindle, I agree with you. I think that that's probably a future plan, or that's what I would have as a future plan, is having them with McGroarty. Obviously, you got Tommy Novak still there, but I don't think Novak has been as unnoticeable as he was the first 2 weeks of the season. I think over the last stretch, maybe not on the box score lining it up, but I think that he's been at least more noticeable with the play with Kindle and Koivunen. So there's some positives there. I think that this roster is performing better because they're pressing the right buttons with the lines. They've gotten some good combinations with wingers, and you're getting good play out of your centers too. Like, and we can transition to talk about Ben Kindle a little bit more, but like his 9 games are up. He has played 9 games in the NHL, so he is going to have to go down, and I just don't think it's going to happen. He's going to stay at the NHL level. Like,
do you feel the same way about Brunick?
I think that there's actually more of an argument now for Brunick to go back down than there would have been at the start of the season. But I still feel like you look at their defense, and I don't know. They brought up Pickering, so maybe that should be more of a writing on the wall for Brunick. But there's so many defensemen that they have, but just none of them are that good to where I can make the argument for Brunick sticking around because of that. But also, if you're going to have a logjam of defensemen, why not just send him back down and let him play every single night that he can? I don't know. I think that's a tougher decision, which is the opposite of what I would have thoughted to start the season, knowing that those two were going to be on the roster together. Kindle, I think, is almost like automatic. You can't send him down. He's been too good, and he is your best third-line center that you're going to have in the organization. I think that a little bit differently about Brunick now. Like, I can hear out the argument of he should be sent back down because of the amount of left side D that you have, but also at the same time, like, is he better than most of them? Probably. So
yes,
we'll see. Well, I mean, yes, the answer is yes, but we'll see. We'll see. He has a couple more games because he hasn't been iced in every single game so far for them to make that decision. So we'll probably see by the time we talk next week. But Kindle's time is up, and I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's staying in Pittsburgh.
Well, by the time people watch or listen to this, we'll have known if he was in the lineup on Thursday, and that could be the determining factor, obviously. But I'm going to play this ad, and then we'll get into it more because I have a thought regarding Brunick, honestly, the defense in general. But first, we'll tell you about Keek's Barbershop. What's going on, everybody? Smitty from around the 412 had to take a quick second to tell you about our friends at Keek's Barbershop. That's Keek's Barbershop, 401 Burkage Way, Suite 2 in Beaver, PA. Download the app, The Cut, book an appointment with Christian today, or you can do a walk-in with Tony or Ashley. Again, download the app, The Cut, to book an appointment today, or they do take walk-ins as well. Could not imagine going anywhere else. Old school vibe in there. Check them out. I didn't know that it was possible for the Penguins to ice guys that would make me miss Caleb Jones. But Matthew Dumba and Connor Clifton stink. And I don't know, Owen Pickering might be trending in that direction as well. But certainly Dumba, if I never saw him again, it'd be great. So that is why I hope that Brunick sticks around, because
he's far from the Minnesota days.
My God. Yes. He's horrible. The only thing that he does that's noticeable, who did he fight? He fought somebody the other night. Got into a fight, and that was the most notable thing.
I don't even know who he fought.
Then he took another penalty like 5 minutes later.
That's what I was about to say. The most notable thing of the past week is that he took a bad penalty.
So, not that we thought it was going to go well or anything like that, but that was completely about getting another asset to go along with him just to take him. So, that to me is why I keep Brunick. And I mentioned this before, but to be honest, I think that there's more for him to learn here than in the juniors. Like, learn how to diet, learn how to train, learn what it's like on the road. Just be around Crosby and Gino and Letang and Carlson, Russ, the guys that have been there and done that at such a high level for a long time. I just think that there's more value in that. And honestly, if this team is going to be any good this year, like, I think he's got to be a part of it because of what else there is to offer on the back end. So that's where my mind is at with him. If this team was not playing well right now, then I probably wouldn't care, but I would be a little bit disappointed. I mean, obviously, if Kindle did, but even if Brunick did, I think I'd be a little bit disappointed.
I think that's completely fair. And I am still of the opinion that I would keep him up here, but I was more or less saying that I can at least hear the argument because of mainly the way that they used their defenseman this year. Like, the fact that he hasn't played in every single game, a little bit confusing to me. I don't know if they have like a pitch count that they wanted to start the season on, but he's clearly one of your best defensemen, and I agree with you 100%. I don't know what juniors is going to teach him as far as getting better at the game of hockey. I think that you should probably have him at the NHL level, let him take his lumps up here, because that's how he's going to learn. That's how he's going to get better. I just don't think that somebody who's on the fringe of an NHL roster is going to learn much down in junior. Like, is he going to play a lot? Sure. Is he going to dominate? Probably. But what's he learning down there? I just don't think it's going to be valuable for him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's completely where I'm at as well. And I will say, you mentioned taking the lumps. I thought he was better early in the season than he has been the last couple of games that he's been in. But I mean, clearly he's still one of your best 3-4 options right now on defense, depending on what version of Erik Karlsson or Chris Letang that you get on any given night.
Yeah. I mean,
so
you pretty much draw the line. I would say that guaranteed he's in the conversation with Parker Wotherspoon, Erik Karlsson, and Chris Letang for like better defensemen on the team. And that's the threshold. I think he's better than everybody else that you're going to ice.
Oh God. Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, Shea's had some moments where it seems like he's added something to the team, but he also shouldn't be playing as much as he is. So it's like hard he's almost like Chuck Clark. He's not asking for the role that he's playing in. So like when he makes a mistake, is it really his fault? Like, so he's had some moments where he's been a contributor, should not be playing in the top 4, but, like, think about how wild that is. What was he, like the 8th or 9th defenseman last year? Now he's in your top 4 1 year later. I mean, so I don't know. I think it just speaks to the roster construction more than anything else. But yeah, just depending on what version of Chris Letang or Erik Karlsson you're getting, Brunich's probably in your top 3 defensemen every night, because those guys rarely are going to play so well on the same night. Yeah. And that third left side is just travesty.
It's a black hole.
Yeah. That's the Steelers secondary.
I mean, what, the other night it was Owen Pickering. Like, he's become a big disappointment for me. Like, obviously.
Yeah, he's right. He's teetering on bus talk.
Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. But while we're talking defensemen, I actually thought of this while you're talking. Kind of a little change of subject.
Okay.
If you were to set the over under at 0.5, would you take the over and the under on how many NHL games Ryan Graves is going to play this year?
Oh. Well, this is what I'll say first and foremost is that was my reminder that Ryan Graves exists.
Well, and I think that's probably why it's more of a question, because think about how many players have they played on that left side so far this year, and he's not one of them.
They clearly do not. Yeah. I mean, injuries are going to happen. We've seen one happen with Caleb Jones already. I'm going to say he plays more than 5.
Oh, I said 0.5. So I
yeah. Okay.
Like, if he's going to play a game
over.
or not. Yeah.
Easy over for me.
Okay.
Just because of injuries. Now, if no one gets hurt, I would say less. If you could guarantee health for everybody. I just think that injuries are going to happen and they're going to need them. How many other guys could feasibly be ahead of him at the AHL level that we haven't seen yet?
Probably not many, considering that they're really just burying his contract down there.
Yeah, like who else would they bring up basically? If somebody got hurt, who's the next man up in Wilkes? It's got to be him, right? Like Pickering already came up.
I'm looking at the roster right now. I mean, Sebastian Aho.
Oh.
Jack St. Ivany.
Actually, he might too. Oh.
And neither of those guys are going to cost as much to do it.
I'm still saying over on that. I'm still saying over on half, but I'm questioning the 5 now.
Okay.
I'm questioning the 5.
I mean, those are the two that would probably, like, looking at it right now, would be more likely to get up there.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, there it is. I mean, no offense to Ryan Graves, but I hope I don't see you at all this season. At least in a Pittsburgh.
No offense to the human being, Ryan Graves, but very much offense to the player. I hate you.
There you go.
We haven't played even the Shop Yins ad yet, let alone Marcel Electric. So we still got a couple to work in here, but I don't know that there's much else to say.
We can play one. Play one, and then we have another topic to close out the show with.
Okay. All right. Let's tell you about Shop Yins. What's going on, everybody? Smitty from around the 412 had to take a quick second to tell you about our newest sponsor, Shop Yins. A lot of people have been asking me about around the 412 merch. We got it. Down below is the link, shopyins.com. Save yourself $10 off a minimum purchase of $30, which is basically like you're just buying one t-shirt if you're over there right now. Orders of $75 or more also get free shipping. And while you're over there, don't just check out our Around the 412 stuff. Taylor's got Penguin stuff, Steelers stuff, Pirate stuff, a bunch of good stuff always coming out. Hoodies, I'm actually rocking mine right now. T-shirts, hats, stickers, flags. He's got a bunch of stuff, koozies going on over there right now. Go check all of it out. We appreciate the support that you guys have given us. We appreciate our guy Taylor. Go check it out, shopyins.com. And I'm curious.
Well, we mentioned how good the top six was doing, but we didn't mention something specific that happened in the last 4 games. Sidney Crosby becomes the 9th player all time to reach 1,700 career points. He added to his total that same night, ending that night at 1,701. Currently sits at 1,702, 9th all time by himself, and is currently 21 points behind Mario Lemieux for 8th all time. And also, he would break the record for Penguins points all time as well when he does that. So big shout out to Sid. Obviously, he continues to just stack on the credentials of why he's one of the best players in this game's history. Like we mentioned, 15 points in 11 games this year. That's an on-pace record for 112 points over an 82-game season. I don't necessarily think like maybe that's something that plateaus off a little bit. Maybe he doesn't get 111, 112 points. I'd absolutely love it. Don't get me wrong. But he's still playing at such a high level, 38 years old, one of the best to ever do it. And looking at the all-time record, like it's feasible to think that at his current pace, there could be an argument that Sid could finish as the 6th highest player in points this year. You've got Mario Lemieux sitting at 8th with 1,723. Steve Yzerman at 1,755 and 7th. And Marcel Dion is at 1,771. Which, I mean, 1,771, maybe that's stretching it a little bit, but I think it's doable. Like it's not that far off what he's pacing.
I mean,
right
he
now.
will.
I mean,
he will next
season. Yeah, for sure he will next season. But if he's keeps up the pace that he's on right now, he's for sure clearing that.
Yeah, I'm starting to question: do we see 2,000?
And that's a question that some national people, at least in Canada, are having too. Like, I know that was it Rupper also today came out and said he wants 2,000 from him. Obviously, everybody wants 2,000 from him, but I think that there might be a legitimate case because the stats clearly aren't falling off. His play clearly isn't falling off. If he were to finish at this pace right now, if you're adding those extra points onto what it's going to be, you're looking at him finishing the year at I'm just doing math real quick. So if he adds on like 96 more points, which again, that's the pace that he's currently on, he would finish the year at 1,798, which actually would tie him for 5th all time with Ron Francis if he did that. So you're talking about 200 plus points over what, 3 seasons that he might still play, like 2 to 3 seasons. I mean,
it's hard to say.
And that's only saying that if he only play. I mean, he might play past that, but like 200 points, and if he were to only play 3 more seasons after this, getting 200 to 220 points, I think, would be doable if he continues to stay in the same realm of play that he is. And there's no clear sign of it falling off. But yeah, Sid, at least for now, 1,700, sitting alone at 9th. Give it a few more weeks, and he's going to pass Mario Lemieux.
Yeah. Wow. It is crazy to think about. You mentioned Ron Francis in there, and I think another thing that we should shout out is the players going into the Team Hall of Fame, players and coaches going into the Team Hall of Fame over the weekend as well. Always a cool moment to see. I'm glad that they broadcast that as part of the TV broadcast or streaming broadcast, if you will. So that was really cool to see as well. But yeah, Sid continues to defy the odds. It's why, we both predicted, I wouldn't even say boldly predicted that he would be a point per game player again this season. Well on his way to doing that. The one that's more surprising is Gino, I think, with the way that he started. I mean, what did he have last year? 50 points or something like that? Still a useful player, but this is far beyond where we thought he would be in the year 2025.
Gino, 50 points in 68 games. Last couple of years, 50 points, 68 games, 67 points in 82 games. So like the last few years or last couple of years been below that point per game mark. And like I had mentioned that this is probably the best that he's looked since, in my opinion, probably like the 1920 season. And in that season, he had 74 points in 55 games before it got cut off for COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, he's on a roll. And it's really cool to see. I mean, despite, I don't know how long this is going to last. Let's just enjoy the ride while we're on it, because it's been a lot of fun, and it's these guys leading the ship still.
Another hypothetical question for you. If you're the one running the Penguins, Gino continues the year again on the pace that he's at.
Yeah.
Are you offering him a contract extension, or is this a ride off into the sunset sort of deal?
No, I mean, I hope that he wants to come back, but I hope that we can go year by year at this point, though, is what I'll say.
Like a McCutcheon.
I don't know that I love. Yeah, I don't know that I would love the idea of doing. I guess maybe you could talk me into 2. I can't. I'm not going beyond that.
I wouldn't want to go beyond that either.
And I'm not sure that he does. So, I hopefully it can just be a year by year thing. But I mean, if he's playing at this level, maybe that's that you mentioned, like, motivation. Is there any bigger motivation than the fact that he wants to keep playing after this year and doesn't have a contract to do so? I mean,
I don't believe that a player gets this motivated to want to play in the KHL next year. For all those rumors.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's something that we need to think about playing a role as well. What's going on, everybody? Smitty from around the 412 here. Had to take a quick second to tell you about Marcelo Electric, serving Beaver, Allegheny, Lawrence, and Butler County. Whether it's residential, commercial, or service calls, our boy Brandon Marcelo's got you covered. 724-614-0611. Again, that's Marcelo Electric, 724-614-0611. The link below in the description takes you to his Facebook page. All his contact information is there, as well as a lot of the projects that he's been working on. Does great work. Couldn't recommend him enough. That's one of the funniest things that's ever happened on here. I realized I didn't change the logo, so I meant to click the icon to change the logo at the top to Marcelo Electric, and I just played the ad. So I just played the ad.
I looked at you because on the StreamYard we could see below, and you just start cracking up. Like, that was funny.
Well, anyways, that was Marcelo Electric. We're right above Tyler right now. But yeah, I think that it will be a year by year. I think that's what both parties want, to be honest. I think the Penguins and Gino would probably just like to go forward on a year by year basis. I can't imagine if he continues at this pace. And he even said prior to he doesn't want this to be his last year, to then play that way. I can't imagine that would change from his side. I really don't know why the Penguins wouldn't want him back.
Mm-hmm. It'd be different if he had another year of like 50 points in 80 games. But the way he's played.
But I mean, even that, right? That's like, how many centers are giving you fit? Like,
I mean, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I'm saying like it's at least more, I don't want to say acceptable, but
It's easier to sell, not bringing back an almost 40-year-old that had 50 points.
Right. But if Gino has like 82 plus, like if he's at least a point per game player, how do you not?
Mm-hmm. And I don't even know what he's doing on the power play this year, but I think there's like, it seems like most of the production's 5v5. Like, it's not like these stats are inflated or ballooned by the power play, in my opinion. Or I shouldn't say my opinion. I don't know if the facts are going to back up what my thought is, but
5 points on the power play. 1 goal and 4 assists. So I mean, it's 5 out of the 16.
How many games did they played? 11, right? So he's got
still
11 5 points
without power play. Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how the season ages, both for him and the team, but certainly going in a good direction there. All right. Anything else? We already played the Marcelo Electric ad.
Shorthanded or 5 shorthanded points in his career. Interesting.
I don't remember any of them.
2008 and 2009, apparently.
All of them? All 5 of them came in those 2 years?
All 5 of them came in those 2 years.
What was he doing killing penalties then?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I was just looking at the stats. I'm like, well, let me look at shorthanded.
Unless it was like a situation, it had to have been a situation where they needed to score, like at the end of the game to tie it, but were shorthanded.
Maybe
they had to throw like him and sit out there or something.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now I'm about to go YouTube, look up Malkin's shorthanded goal, just 'cause I'm curious.
Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you are here on YouTube, don't miss any of the content that we are putting out on a regular basis. Steelers show, Penguin show, Pirates at some point, whenever they come back, we'll start putting out content for them again. And then, of course, every Saturday during Steelers season, Steelers Saturday sit down, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on the YouTube channel, Tyler and I. And then it goes into your audio feeds as well. Although, my mistake, for anybody that does count on those on the audio feeds, I completely forgot to upload Saturdays to Spotify and Apple. I had to get a haircut right after we wrapped up and then completely forgot when I got home to upload it. So it was only on YouTube. YouTube exclusive Steelers Saturday sit down this past week. Maybe that's why they lost. So got to jump back on it for this one against the Colts. Yeah, it has nothing to do with the secondary. It was all because we forgot to upload, or I forgot to upload that episode to your listening platforms. But if you are on the listening platforms, be sure to leave a 5-star review and subscribe over there. That's Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. We are there. Just search around the 412. Do the same thing on all the socials and follow us over there. Follow Tyler, Weiler_Teach33. Follow me, Zachary Smith, PGH, wherever you're watching or listening. All the links in the description to all of our great sponsors, as well as Year 8, rocking around the 412, as Tyler touched on at the beginning of the episode. We're nearing 230 kids in total since 2018 that we've provided Christmas to through this mission, which is crazy to think about. If you make any donation, you'll be eligible to win some prizes, including Penguin tickets, which are more valuable now maybe than we thought they were going to be when we launched this mission. So definitely happy about that. Not sure if Tyler's bank account will back up that statement, but we are happy about it individually. Something signed by Pat Fryermuth. Let us know if you have any ideas of what you want that to be. Game changer stuff, shop yen stuff, maybe some other things. Also throw ideas our way. You know, I guess even though we are sports related, we want to incorporate different people for donating that maybe aren't into sports and just supporting us. Let us know if you got ideas for like a gift basket of different sorts. I mean, to be honest with you, if I could pick a prize, I have become obsessed with Bath and Body Works stuff. So I might want that over any sports related stuff right now if that was an option. So let us know. Let us know what your prize ideas would be. But yeah, donate if you can. At the very least, please share the mission. You never know whose eyes and ears you can get on this thing. We thank you once again for listening or watching to Around the 412. If you're a Steelers fan, we'll see you Saturday for Steelers Saturday sit down. If not, we'll see you next week right back here on the Around the 412 Penguin Show.